It was the first century of the Common Era, and Rome's shadow loomed over the lands of Britain. The morning mist hung thick, wrapping the valley in a cold, damp shroud that clung to Cailean's skin like icy fingers. The air was sharp with the scent of wet earth and pine, mingling with the metallic tang of iron from the training grounds below. Somewhere in the distance, a raven called, its throaty croak breaking the eerie quiet. The raven, a symbol of fate and war, seemed an omen, a harbinger of the violence soon to come. Cailean stood alone, the mist swirling at his feet as the weight of the impending storm settled over him. At the edge of the sacred grove, Cailean stood with his father's sword heavy in his hand. The hilt, worn smooth by the palms of countless warriors before him, carried the weight of both history and the future of his tribe. Doubt gnawed at him, a shadow creeping into the corners of his heart. Was he truly ready to lead them, as his father had? The sword felt like an unbreakable bond to the tribe's future, a constant reminder of the lives depending on his decisions. The mist was as cool as death's touch on his skin, and the weight of leadership pressed down on him, mirroring the heavy clouds gathering overhead. Memories washed over Cailean, carried by the scent of burning herbs and the low hum of the druid's chants. He remembered being 10 summers old, standing beside his father in this very grove. Cormac had called him here, his voice deep and steady like the ancient river that flowed through their lands. One day, this will all be yours, his father had said, his voice like the roll of distant thunder. Cailean had nodded, his chest swelling with pride. But now, standing with the sword in hand, pride was replaced by doubt and fear. The grove felt otherworldly, its towering oaks casting long shadows on the forest floor. The weight of his father's words lingered, no longer a promise but a burden clouded by uncertainty, as the mist thickened around him. The news spread quickly. The Romans were marching, their disciplined legions relentless in their pursuit. The Celts, brave but disorganized, could not match the Romans' machine-like precision. Cailean could almost hear the pounding of their boots, the rhythmic clash of shields as they advanced closer, like the steady beat of a war drum. A scout emerged from the mist, his face pale, streaked with dirt and sweat. "The Romans," he gasped, dismounting as he stumbled toward Cailean. "They've already taken the next village. I saw the fires. Their legions are no more than a day away." The urgency in the scout's voice amplified the weight already pressing on Cailean's chest. The threat was no longer a distant worry. It was here, and it was real. The time for hesitation was over. The mist clung to Cailean's skin, leaving him damp and chilled, but it was nothing compared to the cold settling in his chest. He wasn't sure if he was ready to lead, to carry the sword as his father had. Every choice now carried the weight of the tribe's future, and the cost of failure was unthinkable. The raven's croak echoed through the trees, a reminder that fate was always watching. Cailean's eyes flicked toward the treetops, where the raven had perched moments ago. Fate was no longer a distant shadow. It had taken form, waiting for him to step forward. With his heart heavy, but his resolve hardening, Cailean took his first step toward the battle that awaited. The raven's call echoed once more, a promise of what was to come. As Cailean moved forward, the mist seemed to part before him, revealing the path he must take. Each step felt like a promise to his ancestors, a vow to protect the land and people he cherished. The weight of his father's sword was no longer a burden, but a reminder of the strength and courage that ran through his veins. The raven's call lingered in his mind, a haunting melody that urged him onward. The Romans were coming, but so was Cailean, ready to meet them head-on. In his heart, the fear transformed into a fierce determination, a fire that burned brightly against the encroaching darkness. As the mist swallowed him once more, Cailean knew that the battle was not just for survival, but for the soul of his tribe, their freedom, their legacy. And he would fight for it with every breath, every beat of his heart until the very end.